Hello, my name is Esteban, and this is the first video I'm ever doing in regards to anything. But this more specifically will be me just talking about FIFA 19, also the future of FIFA 19, and also some comparisons between games that I have played and what I think they should do in regards to FIFA and also Pro Evolution Soccer. So, and also giving a shout out to Zorro, that we play pro clubs. Also, Inception, Stallion, that you guys had a great podcast last time, a good stream. Mike LaBelle, or as I like to remember him as Dirty Mike, his original name. But and a few other YouTubers, OV, Crossy, you know who I'm talking about. That I keep making his accent. But anyway, so the point of this video, like I said, is just to sort of rant or sort of think openly in regards to the game itself. Because I think that, just like many other people are thinking, that the game can definitely be better. And there's always room for improvement, as good as a game can be. But in regards to FIFA specifically, I didn't play FIFA for a few years. The first time I really got back to FIFA was in FIFA 17. I tried out FIFA 16 and I said, okay, the movements are very fluid. The the details, certain animations were good. So then I said, okay, I'll try FIFA 17. FIFA 17 was pretty good. I still had to get used to the gameplay, more so because of, well, the last time I played a FIFA game was back for FIFA 13. So from FIFA 17, that's about a 4 or 5 year gap. Now, the game that I've been playing throughout those years was a game called Winning 11-8. Even Winning 11-7, but more specifically Winning 11-8. Or other people would probably know it as Pro Evolution Soccer 4. This was a game that came out like in 2003 or 2004. It used the 2004 roster. So imagine you had Real Madrid with David Beckham, R9, Zidane, Guti, Michael Owen as a substitute, Casillas. And I say Casillas because I'm Argentinian, so it might be a little weird. But apart from that, then Barcelona had their team. Milan had Shevchenko and Crespo as a sub. Great players, Gattuso, all kinds of legendary players that we know of now, right? Obviously, back in 2004, they were playing. Now, the comparison that I want to make is between FIFA in general, because FIFA 18, for example, the gameplay, for the most part, wasn't the best, truly. But FIFA 19 was a huge downgrade compared to it. And then compared to FIFA 18, between 17 and 18, 17 was a lot better. And in that game, they need to tweak certain things. Now, one of the things that I think they should have tweaked, and then all these things like 17, 18, 19 being compared to Winning 11-8, because to me, that's the best game I've ever played for soccer. Other people, obviously have different opinions, but I think that for the most part, they'll understand. The gameplay in Winning 11-8 was very fluid, and there wasn't too many animations. There were, maybe certain postures of the players that were a little different. You can choose between like maybe 3 or 4 options, if I recall. But apart from that, all the players moved the same for the most part. Of course, they looked a little different in their, facially. Now, when it comes to that game, the fluidity, the reaction time, whatever you did in real life with your controller, you did in the game. If you want to just take a little dribble diagonally to the right or the left, or if you want to go all the way back, depending on the quality, or rather the ability of the player, yeah, you'd be able to perform the move a lot quicker. In FIFA 18 and 19, but more so 19, because again, that's the worst FIFA I've ever played, and a lot of people would probably agree. If you react a certain way, and Inception's described it perfectly in his videos, and he's shown it with the controller on the bottom of the screen. during his live streams. He would point upwards, or in my case, I would point upwards as well, to dribble upwards on the screen. And it would take a second, second and a half. In that second or second and a half, or even shorter reaction time, maybe half a second, those things are very influential because your mind is moving faster than what you're doing physically. And for that to translate into the game, it takes even longer. That shouldn't be the case. In winning 11-8, the reactions were very quick. Sure, every game has its faults. So yeah, maybe at certain times something didn't happen in the game. But 95% of the time, probably higher, but I don't want to push it because no game is perfect, the game reacted to the way that you needed to react. So that's one of the things, the reaction time. Excuse me. But the game being that way and winning 11-8, where it was very quick, the reaction time was good, the quality of the dribbling, you know, with the R2 button, just one simple button, and you were able to do the skilled dribbling, or tactical dribbling, as other people may know it as opposed to in the FIFA games, you have to hold L2 and R2, and in FIFA 17, that was a lot better. They should have kept that feature. There's a lot of features they should have kept from every game. But that's another point too, where every game has its pros and cons. So there are good things about FIFA 17 that they should have translated, or rather transitioned into the other games that they didn't. And then there are things they should have taken away in the previous game, and then they sort of improved on it. For example, FIFA 18, from my recollection, I haven't played it in a while, the crossing was improved. It actually felt good. The shooting didn't need to be touched. The time finishing. This isn't NBA 2K, where that's more understandable, where you need to time your shot, your jump shot and everything. Depending on how you release the shot, you know, your percentage of making the shot is better. But even though timing is a factor in any sport, FIFA does not need that kind of feature. They need to remove it completely. Or at least make the regular shooting good, where if you're one-on-one with the goalkeeper and you want to take a little dribble diagonal to the right, left, or you know, all the way perpendicular or whatever it is, to angle your shot better, and then for the player to actually finesse the shot, not hit it with the outside foot, which happens to be the non-dominant, or anything like that. Those shots should go in 9 times out of 10, probably higher. In winning 11-8, going back to it, that situation happened every single time. Probably from a scale of 1 to 10, it happened 11 out of 10, or any number higher that you want, because that's what would happen. The fun or the illusion that it gave me to have, well, I'm Argentinian, so I was a little biased, but Shevchenko, I mean, he was a remarkable player too. The formation that Milan had was, if you gave a through ball, one good through ball to your forward, the formation had, and that's the other thing too that they try to promote with FIFA, but I'll get to that later. Just noticed my hand there. So if you gave a good through ball to that player using the formation, the default formation that was for Milan in that winning 11-8 game, you were one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And it was so nice because because the way that the forward in that formation was positioned, he's positioned on the left, almost like a winger, which was a little weird. Typically, that's not the formation or where you would put a forward. That's like Ajax that Ibrahimovic was playing in that team during that time, or at least in the roster of the game when he was still there. And they had him as almost a winger, but he was the lone striker. So, and like I said, that's something I'm going to touch on in terms of custom tactics that they tried promoting at the beginning of or before FIFA 19, which is bullshit, basically. So, you know, when I got one-on-one with the goalkeeper Crispo, yeah, things happen. The goalkeeper makes a save, an amazing save here and there, but that was a handful of times. But you had the confidence that if you took a shot, all you had to do was tap the square button. when you're one-on-one, and it goes past the goalkeeper. And that's how it should be. Once you're one-on-one, you're good. Now, and that's something that No Inception said, Stallion, and many other YouTubers, right? Now, in regards to the custom tactics, before I forget, when they started promoting the custom tactics, that you're able to change certain tactics in terms of how wide you want the players to be, how narrow you wanted the formation to be, and you know, where you wanted the player to go, if you wanted to stay wide or be central, or stay back or go forward and attack, stuff like that. All those things, and again, this is considering that Winning 11-8 is a game from the PS2, and more specifically, this was the 2003 and 4 season, right? I started playing it towards the end of the decade of the 2000s. And there you're able to put the custom tactics, give the individual direction, or you know, things that you wanted that player to do. I never really touched them. It was very just, you know, free roam in that sense. But I'm sure it probably would have helped me in some way. But I got so good with the gameplay, and it was so good. And this was me playing at a level 6. They rated as stars, so the highest you could go is probably 6 stars, which is the equivalent of ultimate level, right? So with the game, you were able to do that in that game. But now they're trying to make it as though FIFA just came out with this idea that you could do these things. So FIFA, although they're trying to promote it as something new, they're rather, you know, what's the word? Well, outdated, for lack of a better word or expression. So, you know, when I thought of that, again, I thought it was bullshit because, you know, they already did this in a previous game. And if you want, you can, you know, just be like, okay, Winning 11-8, I don't know what is that. It's Pro Evolution 4. So that's that's one of the things that, you know, I noticed, that the game, you know, was being promoted in a way that's like, all right, well, they're just trying to latch on to people to really buy the game. Now, the one thing that they did that was great was obviously the inclusion of icons, which is really Legends, right? And that's great and all. And finally, they put Maradona. I don't agree that Maradona should be a 97 rated, while Pele's a 98. And now with the prime icon moments, they have them Pele as 99 rated and Maradona as a 98. I think that if anything, you should have made both players the same, because they're probably the most disputed players at this point, historically. But now we have Messi and Ronaldo, which is a pleasure to see because they're playing at the same time, as opposed to Pele and Maradona having played in different eras. That would have been nice. It also would have been nice to include Cruyff, Di Stefano, Bobby Charlton. But, you know, if you have 1 or 2 decades with all those players playing at the same time, it's kind of like what my father told me once, that, you know, soccer after that would probably have been boring. But at the same time, no, because then you have the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, you have, Neuer, De Gea, you know, so many great players that are playing today. Even Higuain, and I think a lot of people will probably recognize why I'm saying it this way. Remarkable player, but for the national team, he hasn't really been able to serve a purpose. But still, I wish him the best of luck. Now, aside from that, so the inclusion of these icons was good, and especially with these other players. Oh, and one last side note. They should have increased Maradona's stamina to at least an 85 on his 97 rated, and give him an 82 or an 81 on his 91 rated card, because he never stopped running. The 75 stamina for his 95 rated is understandable because he was a lot older. He was still able to move, you know, like with agility and stuff, but it was a different Maradona. So that I understand. but is 97 and 98 rated, not only should his ratings have been equal to Pele's, but his stamina should have been higher too. Because in the 1986 World Cup, and even in that England match, considering it's the prime moment, the guy never stopped running. He kept getting hit time and time again. He still kept going, and then of course he made those 2 goals that were spectacular, each of its own. But alright, it is what it is. Now, in Pro Evolution, the one thing, since it is in Winning 11-8 rather, but also Pro Evolution, the one problem that a lot of people mention that it doesn't really make much of a difference to me, I'm more concerned about the gameplay. If the gameplay is good, then yeah, the other features are going to come with it. We know graphically it's going to be great. We know that animations are going to be good. All those things. Players that, okay, they're not as known now, but in the future when they get better, they're going to become more popular. They work on the face, stuff like that. Apart from that, the gameplay has to be good. But also, the inclusion of that is, or added on to it, Pro Evolution Soccer always had an issue with registration or licensing. Now, historically, I don't know much about it, but I do know the gist of it. Basically, they didn't have the rights to do certain things or get certain names of the players that they can use in the game, but they made up for it. So, for example, Pele, so I'll say this: you can buy with the points that you acquire each match you play in for every league you win, right? And every tournament you win. Every tournament you win in league that you win, you get about 1,000 points, and that gives you enough points to buy a classic team. The classic teams are Classic Argentina, Classic Brazil, the only two South American teams within in the store within that game that you can buy. Then you have the European teams. So you have Classic Germany, Classic France, Classic Italy, Classic Holland, and Classic England. Now, within those teams, and then you can buy Classic players individually, and you have a certain amount. Now, it costs more to get the players than to get the Classic teams. So it's more beneficial to get the teams rather than the players individually first. The good thing also is when you buy a team, they give you 22 players. So, for example, Holland, imagine, you have Kroll in defense. You have Rezenbrink, who was a very good midfielder at Cam, I think, more specifically. Cruyff, Gullit, Rijgaard. I forgot who was the goalkeeper, but I know it was a good goalkeeper. And they usually put like 2 goalkeepers that were very good. You have all those players, and then you had a few others that I can't remember their names. In Classic Argentina, you had basically the team from 1986, and then the team from 1987. I mean, the team from 1986 and 78, the 2 World Cup winning teams. Then you have within that team Di Stefano. Then you have like a few other players that but Di Stefano, he's always weird. He played for Colombia, Spain, and Argentina. But anyway, then Brazil. Brazil's a powerhouse. You have Pelé, Tostão, Jairzinho, an Inception. Sorry if I'm saying it incorrectly. What's it called? Muito obrigado. You have Jairzinho, Tostão, Pelé, Garrincha, which has yet to be put in the FIFA games that they should, because he was a remarkable player as well. Zico, Socrates, which they put, but Zico. I mean, if you have Zico and Socrates in the same game, people are gonna go crazy trying to link them up because they were a great duo. Junior, Carlos Alberto, but his stats in the game are horrible. He has a lot of stamina, but his stats are horrible. His attributes. And Leao, Nilton Santos, then his brother Santos, then a few other players that were really good, and so on and so forth. Platini from France, Gianni Rivera from Italy. Then you have the individual players. Some have already retired by that time, and others had just retired, so their stats are not the best. Like Batistuta, Canigia, Redondo. um, Roberto Baggio, and stuff like that. So those players are there, but they don't have their names. Maradona is Maradone, so all they did was change the E. That allows you to create whoever you want, but clearly you know who it is. Pelé, they called him Palm, like the palm of your hand. Zico, I think they put Zito, Zito. Socrates was something else. Uh, and some of them are like ridiculous. And not only that, but me being a Boca Juniors fan, Boca and River Plate are in that game, as well as other teams from other countries and stuff, like the rest of the world in another sense. Like Olympicaos, I think that's how it's pronounced. Rivaldo was playing on that team. So you see him as a 35-year-old, but his stats are very good. Imagine, or Arsenal, they couldn't get the licensing for Arsenal, or any of the teams from the Bundesliga, from the English league, and I think there's one more league that I can't recall. But the Italian league, the Spanish league, they could because it was more popular and they were fortunate enough to do it. So the jerseys look like the actual jerseys. But for example, in England, you had Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Junberg, I think that's how you say his name, Adams. Manchester United had Cristiano Ronaldo, and his stats were good, but of course not as what they would be today. But he's very agile. His dribbling was good. So anyway, so the point being that the licensing and stuff, if FIFA were to do something like that, where you could let the players go, and you see, okay, there's the classic Argentina or there's the classic Real Madrid, and you just change the names of the players. Don't worry about how it looks. Don't worry about how, okay, well, Zidane, we can't call me Zidane because we need the licensing. It has to be Ziz or Zizzer. I don't know, Scissor, whatever. So, make it so that it's fun in that sense. You have the classic players you can buy, the classic teams you can acquire. They even had the, like, soccer balls. You had the classic one, you had a clear one, just a white regular soccer ball. And then over time, you had like the leather ball and other versions. But you should be able to acquire the ones for like the ball for the 2002 World Cup. That would be nice. The ball from the 1970s, where it's a particular way. I think the Argentinian ball is the tango. FIFA has some like that. And then there's like other versions, right? Classic jerseys with the actual fonts of that time period. I remember they did the Boca Juniors classic jersey, and the font number was horrible. It looked horrible. Uh, I know they couldn't put Quilmes or any sponsors at that time because obviously then you have to promote them. But stuff like that, hairstyles. I tell my buddy Mur all the time when we play pro clubs. You were able to change Zidane's haircut, so there he had the patchiness on his head. He was balding. But you can change his hair to an exaggerated version of Elvis Presley's hair, where it's like sort of a flock of seagulls meets Elvis Presley. In other words, uh, you could put a peacock, literally a peacock, or a horse, or a barrel, or something like that. You could just change things. Ultimate Team, as well as offline, you should be able to create your own jersey. Pick the font, the way that you want the color, the not only the colors and the design, but the way the numbers look, like a classic boxed font. I think it's called like the jersey Maradona wore in 1986. You know, or choose the Brazil jersey from 1994. That was a beautiful jersey. Or 1998, or make it 2002 to be a little more representative. Uh, things like that, and to include these things any way possible. If you can't get the licensing for it, okay, then make it as close as possible, but then don't include, oh, it's the France jersey from this year or whatever. You know. Uh, what else? So custom, and I had a bullet point, but I don't know where the paper is. But so we have like custom tactics that was already made. So that's something that they're trying to promote, something new, but it's not. Uh, the fluidity of the game I'm going to get into in a second. Then you have You know, just like everything custom that you can make, the classic jerseys by the soccer players. Also, and then I'll be comparing FIFA to Pro Evolution. So the fluidity of the game in winning 11-8, the game was extremely fluid. Like I said, the reaction time was very good. The skill dribbling, there was a simple way of doing it. Or even when, like, Carlos Tevez, Juan Román Riquelme, one of my favorite players ever, he did this thing where he would step on the ball. So he would show you the ball, he would have his foot on top of the ball, and then roll it little by little towards him, right? Like as he's moving away. Or even Carlos Tevez did it. He would show you the ball, step on it, and then he would take a dribble or whatever. That's something you can do too in a very simple way. When I found out about it, I was having fun with it. Then you have the skill dribbling. You could still do the scissor dribble, the way Zidane would do it, or Ronaldo, that they popularized it. Ronaldo too, R9, and also Cristiano, but that was later. Uh, Stuff like that. If you did the give and go, and let's say you want to give like a nice little chip through pass, all you have to do is the L1 X button, and as soon before the guy gets the ball, all you have to do is press the cross button, and he would chip it over. How many times would that happen? The chip shot. One-on-one with the goalkeeper. I can't tell you how many times I had so much fun just doing that with R9. I could decide in that moment if I wanted to do this or that. I was even able to do the roulette with Di Stefano because he used to do that. And I wanted to try it out and I was able to perform it. So anything I wanted to do in that game I was able to do. The free kicks were a lot more satisfying. You were able to take a really strong shot with any player that was good at free kicks, or even decently good at free kicks. I've seen a few players like Zico or even Maradona where they were so close to the penalty box for the free kick. All they had to do was chip the ball, but make it float into the goal. All you had to do was press the circle button or the cross button, whichever one that is for you, and it would sort of float towards the goal. And most likely it was a goal. Now, even crossing, I always double tapped it. Whether I got the header or not, I always double tapped it, and it made like a medium cross. And that was for me the most satisfying way to do the cross. But you could do a regular cross, and it would still, it was still satisfying. It wasn't overpowered. It was very solid, very, very satisfying. That's the best word. Now, with that, FIFA is not that fluid. It has fluidity, but not the kind of fluidity that you need because the reaction time is not there. And if the game had good reaction time and good gameplay where you could literally grab one player and dribble past everybody without having to do a bunch of skill moves or anything like that, without the AI being this mirror that's in front of you, following you every single step as if you basically have a mirror in front of you. That's not real soccer. Because when you do a few feints, body feints, how many times has Messi done that? Ronaldo, recently I saw him score the 3 goals. The last goal should not have been a penalty. He scored the penalty very well, but that was not a penalty. Bernadeschi, he hit his own foot, and the ref doesn't see that. He doesn't go to the bar. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. But, they need to be able to change that. And if they could make the foundation of the gameplay take it from winning 11-8 / Pro Evolution 4 and transition it and make that the constant base of gameplay for every game, then there you would have a good start, a very good start. And again, I suggest anybody get a PS2 if you can afford or whatever. Get that game. By now, obviously, it's very cheap. It's maybe $1 or something on Amazon. And try the game. Get used to the gameplay, because just like FIFA, you had to get used to that, right? So you got to get used to this one first. Even me, I tried playing it recently, and the gameplay was different for me, but the reactions were still there. So it's just a matter of getting back used to it. Because once you get used to it, in my case, for example, I was making like an average of 3 or 4 goals every match. There was only one match that I can think of that no matter what I did, I was like an inch away from what I need to do. Pressing the shoot button like before, like a second before, and it didn't go my way, and I lost the match 1-0. But other than that, every single match was satisfying. I won 2-1, I won 3-1, or whatever it is. But I won, and in a very satisfying way. Long shots, like if you get past your defender on the wings, and you tap the X button, that's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. You're gonna make that shot because all you have to do is tap the square, and it's a good shot towards the goal. And most likely, it was gonna be a goal. But once in a while, yeah, the goalkeeper is able to anticipate what you're gonna do, and not with this manual goalkeeper shit, because there's no reason why that should be in the game. And many people agree. Inception. Again, I watch Inception the most, so I'll probably be referencing him, the most. And but yeah, manual goalkeeping shouldn't be in the game at all in any edition of any soccer game, right? So the only time it should be allowed is in pro clubs, because obviously you're controlling the goalkeeper yourself, nobody else. So that's what it is. Now, there are good things about FIFA, and then obviously the bad, and then there's good things about Pro Evolution that should be in FIFA. In other words, if they were to combine the best of each game at this point, pre-patch or post-patch, whatever, and you put them together, you combine them, you would have a much better game. I don't see why they can't do it. FIFA points, a form of gambling, right? Now they're, what's it called? They're not dismissing, but they're banning it. They're banning that because they consider it a form of gambling, which it is. Because you don't know what the hell you're going to get. And on top of that, the payout's very bad. Now, in FIFA, you have to buy FIFA points. It's not like if you do certain things in the game, like, pick your nose and you get 50 FIFA points, right? Okay. So they will give it to you. Now, they don't do that. You have to purchase it with your own money. They could keep all these packs if they wanted. Well, so far only two things are occurring to me. One, if they were to give you FIFA points, let's say 50 for everything that you do, just like in Pro Evolution. In Pro Evolution, you have tasks, you have objectives. If you buy a manager, if you renew a contract, if you, I think I said buy a player, just little things. Switch out a player and put him in this position, or whatever it is, change the tactics, join a tournament, whatever. They give you FIFA. They give you FIFA, Pro Evolution points. Let's call them coins, right? So Pro Evolution coins. They give you 50 for each one that you accomplish. With 150 of those points, so all you need to do is 3, you can buy a pack. And whether it's a good or bad pack, meaning if you get really good players, in their case they only give players for some reason. They don't give you necessarily the contracts. But if you were to buy, then you get 3 players. Okay, and the animations for what player you got is actually pretty cool. FIFA should take notes in that regard. Now that's something that they should incorporate in FIFA. Now, the other thing is when there's certain promotional packs in the Pro Evolution Soccer store, or PES, I'll say PES from now on. If the PES store has a promotional pack, you are most likely going to get a good player. So for example, there's one recently, like I think it's not Become a Legend, but Classic Legends or something. So you had the possibility of getting Mateus, Zico, who's the other player? I think Leonardo from Brazil. There were a few other players. And then there were others like Neymar, Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, it had a mix of players. So you had your really, really good players, like icons, legends. Then you had their modern great players, maybe Kevin De Bruyne or Cristiano. And then you have your regular players that are not bad. They still fill the role, and they're good to have, right? So you had a good possibility of being able to get those players. Then from there you can build a team, and you can build a much better team. I put maybe like $20 or $30 just to see what kind of payouts I would get at one point. The second or third pack that I opened, I got Matheus. If I could get Matheus in FIFA or PES or any soccer game, he's one of my favorite players in real life that played, and also his stats are remarkable. And the cool thing too is that you can develop your player. The more you play with that player, the more he develops. Of course, the higher the rating, the slower his development is, because he doesn't have that much room to develop at this point. But still, so I got an 87 rated Matheus. So imagine if he goes to a 91 rated, right? Or Maradona. And the thing I don't like about it is that they still gave him low stamina. I think they should give these players a lot more stamina than they think. But anyway, so that's the good thing about that. Compared to FIFA, when you buy the packs, it's not a good payout. And a lot of people know this. I've seen people on YouTube get two Modriches, right? Two Modric cards, and a Messi. I think I remember that he's from England. That one guy that, I think it was either FIFA 17 or 18, and it was a team of the year packs. Now this year I did invest in trying to get a player, because I said to myself, okay, my buddy Mur, the bastard, he got the baby R9 card. He hadn't played in the longest time, and he gets that card, and me, I play basically every day, every night, and it's like I didn't get anything. So he was able to sell that card after trying him out, and he got 2.5 million coins. With 2.5 million coins, I already had my team set up. Kevin De Bruyne, Luis Suarez, like a bunch of players that can mix and match. So again, it's like you invest the money and you don't get anything in return, really. Or at least players that are good, because if those packs, the ultimate packs, that's what I bought. I bought 4 of them. So imagine that was already $100. So to invest that money and not get anything, that is deplorable. That is not good whatsoever. Not because, yeah, like I want the best players. Even if I got a player that's worth 100 or 200,000 coins, that's a pretty good payout. Because then you can either buy the really good packs again, or you can go for other players. And that's going to benefit everybody. So the percentage of winning these players should be higher. Also, just like in winning 11-8 and Wii 8, like I said, you can acquire all these classic players. And the fun that I had too was putting, because I just basically grabbed teams that I know I wasn't going to use. I transferred a lot of those players from that team out, and then I transferred the classic players. So I made a 1970s team, 1980s, 90s. I even had enough for a 50s team, and then a 60s team. So imagine, in the 70s, I put Kroll, I put Cruyff, I put Beckenbauer, I put Rummenigge, because he was, in his early to mid 20s, towards the end of the 70s decade. In the 80s, I put Zico, Maradona, Socrates, Platini, Michael Laudrup. In the 90s, I put George Way, he played for Milan. Batistuta, I put Romario, and then there were other players. But basically, from each era, I just grabbed those, classic legends, and I put them on those teams, and I had fun. So I put the classic 70s team versus the classic 90s team, or the classic 60s with Rivellino, Georgie Best, Pelé, all those players that you can think of. and I was able to play against him. And you choose the formation, you do whatever you want, the custom tactics, right? That's so new this year. But all those things. So, you know, FIFA, they don't have those features. Now, in Pro Evolution and in FIFA, they still have bad things about them. So, for example, the finishing in PES is better, in my opinion, than in FIFA, but only in certain things. So, with FIFA, the finesse shot I think is more comfortable to use, but the likelihood of you making the shot, except if it's a one-time finish, because that's also bullshit. You know, how many? I saw a match that Inception played that he streamed. He beat the guy by doing the finesse shots, and he was down 2-0. And Inception, you're gonna know what match I'm talking about, and probably other people as well if somebody happens to see this video. But yeah, the guy scored 2 finesse shots, or Stallion, and then eventually Inception had to do that too. The match was like 3-3. He kept passing the ball around, and he took a one-time finesse shot with Salah, put it in the corner, just like the previous shot he did with Salah as well. But that's what he had to do. That's what a lot of people have to do. I refuse to do it. I do it here and there just to see if it actually works, because I say, okay, if this works, then it's still bullshit, because I shouldn't be able to score these goals just like that, because then in that case I can win every match. But I tried taking the harder route. Now, Stallion, another person that I recently saw his video that Inception also covered, where the guy was doing, he scored like what, 3-4 tornado shots? That doesn't make any sense. How many times do you see that in real life? And not only that, but he was doing that for crosses. It doesn't make sense. So that's why the game is broken. It's whatever you call it, because that's what it is. And that's why winning 11-8 in my nostalgia is going to be so much better than any game that has come out recently. A lot of people say that FIFA 13 was good, but the thing with FIFA 13 is that, because that's the last game I played, that at times it seemed like the ball was being pushed too much, too far away from the player when you're dribbling. That shouldn't be the case. In Pro Evolution 2019, the good thing I'm noticing is that when he dribbles without the sprint, the ball is very close to you. So you can literally go past players without having to hold the L1 button to turn quick, like you do in FIFA. And then, like it feels more fluid in that sense. But with FIFA, there are certain animations or the way that the player moves that it's a lot more pleasing than it is in Pro Evolution. And yeah, so it's just all those features that basically the point of this video, the rant, because I'll probably make another one just to rant again, and to give some opinions and suggestions, because hopefully somebody from EA sees this shit and actually listens to people like Inception, Kurt, that I feel bad about what he went through. Yeah, he should have taken things a different way. He should have been more professional about it, but at the same time assertive. Here he was too blunt, he was too direct with it, and that's backlashing a bit on him. But without a doubt, I'm on his bandwagon, because Kurt, that shouldn't have happened to him. That was very unjust. But Stallion, Michael Bell, I feel like he's in between, especially since he's contracted by MLS. But at the same time, yeah, like he's doing what he has to do. And yeah, I've seen that he's posted a few things, in regards to the gameplay that's like, okay, well, they need to fix this, they need to fix that, whatever. But for the most part, I don't hear any complaints. And from him, it would be such a great voice, such a great medium, so that people actually follow this and say, okay, if he's saying that something's bad with the game, yeah. If we're truly seeing it as well, then we'll see it, we'll say it. But Kurt, he's very blunt, he's very direct with it, and I'm very happy to see somebody like that at least. Definitely somebody I would follow. And Inception, I hope that I can see you sometime in the Pro Evolution, in the professional games and tournaments, because you're a very remarkable player. I've seen your gameplay. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I know I'm a good player as well, but so things haven't been going for me. Maybe hopefully soon, but I would, if there's any pro players that happen to see this want to give me some tips or something, definitely. But you know, I'm all ears. But yeah, so you know, this is just me trying to see if anybody happens to agree, if anybody wants to look into what I'm saying in terms of winning 11-8, if they've heard of the game, if they haven't, definitely check it out. You're not going to be impressed with the graphics, but you'll see the little things. And if you play the game, you'll see it even more. Where the fluidity of the game and the reaction time, and plus the fact that you have these other features that you have, you know, Zidane on Real Madrid without having to buy or transfer or sell players or do SBCs or anything. No, he's in the game because he was part of the roster at that time, and you have other great players that were playing at that time too. But yeah, just check out the game. Also, compare it and see if you agree with me. And I would like to hear some opinions. Just comment whatever you like. Well, not whatever. Don't be insulting or anything. But yeah, just give me your opinion. And if anybody happens to watch the video, I don't have any Instagram. I don't have any of that stuff. This is just a test, just to see if Inception or Stallion or anybody who's willing to just listen to what I have to say, that I've been trying to get to talk to Inception at least on his streams, just to talk and just to give some opinions from somebody who's in the chat, somebody who's not necessarily a frequent YouTuber, but yeah, just to see what people say. Thank you so much.